and the proceeds of the car go there too.
During the whole trip, since one of the cars was fully equipped with tools, we helped a lot of different cars, or at least we, Grts helped a lot of different cars to make sure to get here. Some of the cars were even dead and we revitalized them more than once. I don't mention names here. We had a lot of fun doing that, and it was 2 years of preparation. It was a great project.
A major car auction whose proceeds are meant for charitable causes is set to take place soon. This will set off a host of donations to a variety of beneficiaries around the country. The challengers are certainly delighted as they head to the climax of the journey, but they could still recall the entrails discovered en route and during the preparation for the trip to the Smiling Coast. Ibrahima Jata, GRTS.
National meteorological offices and the World Meteorological Organization are celebrating the coming interforce of the WMO convention seeking to foster international collaboration in meteorology. In a televised statement to mark the day, the Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources, Abdul Koli, delved into the 4 priorities of the global framework for climate change.
As you may be aware, in 2011, the 16th World Meteorology Congress unanimously agreed to launch a global framework for climate services, GFCS, in response to the mandate of the 3rd World Climate Conference of 2009, which followed up on the first 2 historic World Climate Conferences of 1979 and 1990 respectively. The overall objective of the framework is to accelerate global action on adaptation and management of climate-related risk while capitalizing on the associated opportunities, thereby supporting sustainable socio-economic growth. The 16th Congress also agreed that the 4 initial priorities of the GFCS global framework would be disaster risk reduction, water, health, and food security, all of which are in line with the Gambia's Program for Accelerated Growth and Employment page. The theme for this year, Powering Our Future with Weather, Climate and Water Information, is chosen to illustrate the significant benefits provided by weather, climate and water information to different socioeconomic sectors. For example, to determine the potential for renewable energy power generation in a given area, access to accurate long-term climate data constitute an absolute necessity. In the Gambia, climate records reveal that solar power is very much feasible in all the regions of the country. This is further evidenced by the numerous solar-powered water pumping installations implemented under the Ministry of Fisheries, Water Resources and National Assembly matters throughout the country. Also, implementation of the page would certainly require the availability of reliable, timely, and accurate weather, climate, and water information in order to enhance decision-making at the individual and collective levels. Among the priority interventions in the page under my ministry are the implementation of the Integrated Water Resource Management Approach, IWRM, and 2, improving climate risk management.
The Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources there reading a statement on World Meteorological Day. You can follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. We'll be back with more stories right after this break. Welcome back. The President of Mali was himself at the forefront of a coup he led in 1991 against former strongman Moussa Traoré. Ahmadou Toumani Touré led a peaceful transition to civilian rule less than a year after the military takeover. ATT led a stint with the UN as envoy to the Central African Republic and the Great Lakes region. We have more on the deposed Malian president in this report.
The year was 1991. The crowds hailed Ahmadou Toumani Touré, a military officer who had just overthrown the Malian dictator Moussa Traoré. Touré promised to return power to civilian rule, a promise he kept. In 1992, he stepped down and opened the way for the first democratically elected president of Mali.
It's like a military assignment. You come as a soldier, you do your job, you finish, you give an account, and you leave.
Touré won international praise for the democratic transition in his country. Later, he took on the job of UN Special Envoy to the Central African Republic and helped mediate the Great Lakes region crisis. In 2002, he ran in the presidential election. He had no political party. His aim, he said, was to work with all parties. He won the poll, and in 2007 won re-election with 68% of the vote.
Politics is simple. It's a matter of solving problems, that's all.
Despite his excellent reputation, Touré and his regime came under increasing pressure in recent weeks. Al-Qaeda's influence was on the rise, and there was an insurrection of the nomadic Tuareg tribe in the north. Army officers began to resent his government's handling of the insurrection. Some felt he was too weak. Many soldiers felt abandoned. Even their families joined the protest.
We want our children to have ammunition and weapons so they can fight, and we don't want them to suffer from hunger or thirst on the front.
Unlike other African leaders, Ahmadou Toumani Touré never tried to change the constitution to run for a third term. He intended to step down at the end of his mandate on April 29th. But the mutinous soldiers decided that one more month was too long to wait.
Africa has presented its candidate for the soon-to-be vacant head of the World Bank. Nigerian finance minister and former managing director of the bank will face off against America's chosen candidate. The U.S. holds the majority share of votes in electing the head of the bank. Analysts believe the U.S. candidate is set for victory. We have more on that in this report.
The announcement came at the last minute. Africa has vouched support for Nigeria's finance minister as the next president of the World Bank.
We're very proud as Africa and certainly this constituency to confirm that the Minister of Finance of Nigeria is going to be a candidate for the president of the World Bank.
Gozi Okonjo-Iweala is campaigning for the job that the American Robert Zoellick will vacate on June 30th. She had already served as managing director of the bank from 2007 to 2011. Developing countries are behind her, wanting a stronger voice in the affairs of the bank.
I consider the World Bank a very important institution for the world, and particularly for developing countries deserving of the best leadership. So I look forward to a contest of very strong candidates. And am I confident? Absolutely.
She had worked as vice president and corporate director of the World Bank Group, which she left in 2003 when she was appointed finance minister in Nigeria. Historically, the president of the World Bank has been an American, whereas the IMF has been led by a European. Although the bank has 187 members, the U.S. holds the most votes. This should make the nomination a mere formality. Other World Bank members are dissatisfied with the arrangement. Deadline for nominations is Friday night. President Obama has announced the U.S. candidate. One former economist at the bank said the process was archaic, adding that the U.S. candidate would probably get the job.
And an anthropologist.
With days to go before Senegalese voters go to the polls, the two candidates, incumbent Abdoulaye Wade and Macky Sall, are scoring the country for votes. Wade has gained the support of the influential Serigne Béthio Thioune, who is a member of the powerful Mouride sect. The club-wielding followers of the sect are being urged by their leader to vote Wade into office. But as we hear in this report, the welding of clubs is banned by the Senegalese authorities, prompting civil society groups to call on the government to enforce the ban.
Last week of Senegal's president